Hey everyone, Ethan here from Extreme RC 4x4, and today on the bench I have the T-Rex 4 with the new wheels and tires, and we're actually going to be working on those today. As you saw in the video, I was talking a little bit about how the wheels are not sealed, and I thought this would be a perfect time to seal them up because they're never going to be as clean as they are right now, just because I haven't driven them yet. But as you can see, here's the back tire. This is air filled, and this is the front tire, which is not air filled. Although it is good to have the tire conform to the train, as you can already see, the back tire is a little bit flat. I'm not gonna get any new foams or anything because I do like that, but I really like the kind of springiness that you get with the actual air filled tire, and I've always just preferred that over the vented system. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how I sealed mine up, as well as I'm going to be adding a little bit of weight. These are some lead wheel weights that you put on a motorcycle. So put on some gloves, I guess, for that, help prevent lead poisoning. So naturally our first step is just to pull the wheel off the truck. One thing about the Traxxas rims that I've noticed is that I cannot get my actual drivers in them. I have to use this 4-way kind of wrench that you always get with the kids. I can't use kind of the screwdriver style that you can find some places. So as you can hear, there's a pretty good amount of air that comes out of these. But I guess if I don't like them sealed, I can always come back and take the screws that I'm going to be using out of them. If you can see in here, if I can get you guys, there's a little hole about here, and then there's another one right on the other side, right there. So you can pull off whatever side you want. I'm just going to pull off the back side here. I'll grab a tray to throw all the hardware in. With that ring pulled off now, we can go ahead and pop this out. I'm just going to pull the foam out for the time being, just so we can get in there a little bit easier. I want to be careful not to pull too hard on it and tear it. But we can go ahead, let's see here, pull this back. It's probably not the best thing to do to your tires, but so now what we want to do is find the hole on the rim, as you can see right there. And what I have to solve this problem is the tiniest of tiniest M3 screws that I could find, that I will probably never use for anything else. We're going to take those and put them inside of the hole, and we can just actually thread it in. It will be a little bit sideways because of the plastic spacers or whatever you want to call them that Traxxas put in here. You just want to tighten them down until you feel them start to snug up in there. So once we got those in there, you can actually see the screws poking through the inside, but you won't be able to see those from the outside, so it shouldn't affect anything aesthetically. And see if I can pull this tire back anymore. Doubt that it's doing any good for our tire, but so I got my gloves on now for a little lead poisoning preventative, I guess. I have done this on some rims before, but before I go ahead and do this on this one, I just want to let you guys know that you can add weight to the truck in a different way, but by doing it this way, you're going to be adding what's called rotational mass. This is weight that's going to be rotating with the wheel, so it's going to put more strain on your drivetrain than if you were just adding weight like on your axle housing or on any piece of the frame that is not necessarily part of the moving drivetrain. So this will take a little bit more torque off your motor, probably a little more energy. It shouldn't be a noticeable amount though, so I've never had trouble with this, and it always has been an easy way for me to get weight nice and low in the chassis without really having to buy any expensive parts. So I'm going to go ahead and take these. Let's see here. Oh yeah. So these are really easy to bend. Just gonna take the sticky part off here so that we can stick it to the rim. And yes, I will have to pull this off if I so choose to come back in and get rid of our sealing screws. Just want to try and center these in the rim. I'm going to start mine at that screw because I think that screw is fairly centered in the wheel. Not really sure if this is how you're supposed to do it, but I'm going to go ahead and try to cut it with some side cutters. Oh yeah, it's really nice and soft, so go ahead. Looks like that's going to be a little long. What I'm going to do now is try to take a clamp here and try to see if we can cinch down the ends here so we get a nice uniform roundness to it. Making sure we're not pinching the tire anywhere. So, as you might have guessed, the tire is probably going to be a little bit off balance, but simply because I'm not using this as any kind of racing machine, this is basically just a trail truck for me, I'll be fine with this. But if you're doing this on something you plan on running fast, you might want to consider it because it's going to be really difficult to get all the weight perfectly centered in your wheel. Also, talking about some of the venting, I really prefer to keep the tire sealed, not only for the springiness of it, but just because you can keep things like water and mud out of your foams. That's pretty important to me because I do, in the winter time, a lot of driving in the snow, and those foams get wet, and sometimes when they get wet they get really stinky, which I really hate that. That's usually more or less something that occurs when you drive it through mud, and I don't do a lot of driving in mud, but it is nice to know that whatever I'm doing, it's going to keep everything inside the tire nice and clean. So I shouldn't have to worry about it as long as the beads are sealed around here. I'm not going to trim the foams at all, because having a little extra pressure on the outside because the foam having to deal with the extra material of the lead weight inside, it's not going to be an issue, just because the truck is heavier and a little extra push wouldn't be an issue. So that's basically all that I'm doing with these tires and the wheels. Getting the weight down low is going to help counteract all the scale details that Traxxas already added to the truck and just make it a much more stable platform. So, being beadlocks, if I hate any of the modifications I've done, I'll be able to come back and change those down the road, whereas with glue it'll be a little bit more difficult. I'm going to go ahead and seal up the tire, and then I'm going to go ahead and wait and seal the rest of our wheels off camera. But make sure to let me know in the comments section if you guys like to weight your wheels, how much weight do you usually put in them. Let me know, do you like them sealed or vented like I do? But thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.